like Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah. Hey there friends, Kevin here from the Chord Progression Podcast, and today I'm going to review an album I've been waiting for since I found out about this band. I get to review Welcome to Horrorwood, the Silver Scream 2 by one of my favorite bands, Ice Nine Kills. Before we get started, please remember to follow us on everything, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow the podcast on Spotify, Podcasts, iHeart Radio, and Amazon. Yes, I know right now, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, we're going to say MSOTD Rocks, but at the beginning of 2022, all that's being changed to just the Chord Progression Podcast because, well, I like podcasts, like doing that stuff, but some of the stuff is still going to stay the same. You're still able to contact us all the time on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. A lot of the posts are still going to be the same, including our live streams every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central, our IGT videos every single Tuesday night, and of course, the Chord Progression Podcast is becoming a much bigger thing than I ever anticipated, and it's just going to keep rolling, where you can watch interviews with these artists on YouTube, or you can listen on Spotify Podcasts, Google Play, not Google Play anymore, iHeartRadio, and Amazon. And link description below for everything. So I want to thank our sponsor, Phoenix Fitness, because man, September rolled around. I saw Ice Nine Kills 4 times in the span of 2 weeks, and I did not jump out of the pit once. So to be in the pit, I gotta work out. I gotta make sure my cardio game is up. I gotta hit the gym. Gotta hit them weights, yo. And I need to make sure I recover right as well. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in. Different pre-workouts, BCAA recovery compounds, proteins, creatines, multivitamins, whatever you might need to achieve your fitness goals, Phoenix Fitness has for you. Our listeners get 15% off using the code MSOTD at checkout at fnxfit.com. Link description below. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Let's get on to the review. So let's jump back to the initial Silver Scream to see how we got there from here. That album came out back in October of 2018, and this was Ice Nine Kills' second iteration into the whole entire horror with some sort of substance behind it. On every trick in the book, they went with literature works. Here on the Silver Scream, they went with movies such as Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Crow, Saw, It, The Shining, and many more. And it was received incredibly well. This was the album that really put Ice Nine Kills on the map. It got a 4 out of 5 from a lot of different critics on average, and it peaked at number 29 in the Billboard Top 200. You guys have seen me make videos about Ice Nine Kills a lot since 2019 when I saw them on the Octane Accelerated Tour with Fit for a King and Light the Torch. And guys, I didn't even know who Ice Nine Kills was really going into that show. They played for 2 hours, and yeah, the only band I like more than them is still Rise Against. So yeah, that was a quick turnaround. One other thing you can check out before you jump into this whole video is a video we made previously called The Marketing Genius Behind Ice Nine Kills. There we go through how Ice Nine Kills really set the stage for their emergence on the Silver Scream with the different sort of horror, theatrical, metalcore style they had, and all the different things when it came to marketing and makes them the band they are today, such as the Disney shirts, the Nightmare on the 9th stuff, the Psychos app, everything you want to find out about Ice Nine Kills and how they use it to grow their brand today is in that video, so go check it out. Then at the beginning of 2021, on January 1st, we got a video from Spencer Charles announcing that we would get a new Ice Nine Kills album in 2021. And on July 9th, we got our first taste of it with the single Hip to Be Scared. Then every single 9th up until October 15th, which is the release date, we got a brand new single and a brand new music video going forward to really coincide with their Nightmare on the 9th stuff. And Welcome to Horrorwood, the Silver Scream 2, we're getting more movies. Wonder if the sequel is going to hold up to the original, like if it's going to be like, Godfather, Godfather 2, and not like every horror sequel you've ever seen. Let's hope for the best. Starting out with the instrumentation of it, we know Ice Nine Kills is going to use that horror theatric metalcore style they have and take the source material of these movies and really try and create something that's going to make it feel like you're literally watching the movie while listening to these songs, while within the Ice Nine Kills style. And we saw them do it very well on the Silver Scream number 1. Are they going to do good on Welcome to Horrorwood? Let's dive in because the answer is yes. So starting out, let's take a look at the titular song, Welcome to Horrorwood. The opening is working with more of a melodic piano to create this creepier, more epic grandeur that Hollywood does try to give off. but then when the song picked up the pace, it goes into this fast-paced, heavy metalcore style that kind of also reminds me of like Ice Nine Kills mixed with 2013 Falling in Reverse, but it's just the pace, the upbeat style, and just this higher pitch guitar with the heavier backing of the drums really makes this song stand out as me going, whoa. Then let's go to a rash decision, because when I listen to the intro, I'm like, this sounds like Ice Nine Kills mixed with Slipknot. It sounds like they have that heavy Slipknot drive to it, and it worked out incredibly well, especially in the verses. I really like how it is done to really keep that drive with a little bit of lighter guitar to create this cabin in the woods feel. Cabin fever makes total sense. I had that primal Slipknot drive over the top of it. Man, this just, woo! Going to Assault and Batteries, which is based off of Child's Play, of course, the doll Chucky. They go with some of these like quicker hits on everything, but in the verse they add these like xylophones there, which really add to like the little kidness of the whole entire thing. Of course, it's Chucky, it's a doll. You won't ever grow up, you won't make it past 6. Come on, this works out perfectly. I will get to the guitar work in the pre-chorus in a different section, because Dan's guitar work deserves a section on its own. But Assault and Batteries, it is wild, it is all over the place, but watch the music video for it because it all makes sense. Let's go to the shower scene. This is a little bit more of a melodic song and doesn't have the heavy bite that a lot of the other songs have, but it's based off of Psycho. That movie was made over 60 years ago, so it's really fitting in more with the times. But the bridge and the breakdown is really where this song stands out. When you get to the bridge, it does sound like you have that electronic like shower in the background, and the guitars are slowly building up the suspense to the point where we're gonna get that shower scene when Norman Bates is stabbing Marion Crane with a knife in the shower. And when it finally hits, you get the Psycho violins from that scene, and then you get this heavier breakdown sound, and everything is on beat, so it literally feels like, you know, Norman Bates is stabbing her, and the violins are over the top of it, but not consistently. They're not overdone, which makes this song stand out so much more than I ever thought it could be. Now let's go to Hip to Be Scared. It does have more melodic build in the verse and the chorus to really show Patrick Bateman on the outside, which is how society sees him. You're not going to necessarily see a killer, but when you get to the pre-choruses, they're more rapid, they're more frantic, they're more hitty on the bass drum and the snare really quickly, and it works out to perfection to show that inner working of Patrick Bateman. But there is no getting around the craziness that is the bridge, which is all 80s synth, Huey Lewis and the News inspired, which fits in so well with the scene of Patrick Bateman killing Paul Allen that this is the most out of place, out of the box bridge I've ever heard in my entire life, and it fits so well in the song. Not to go to Worst Vacation, because you take a look at the verses, the toms and the snares are really hitting really rapidly, really hard, and the heavier guitars over it, but there's an electronic inclusion at the back end, which really brings more of this industrial feel to the mix. It creates this whole entire incredible sound, which really relates to the movie Hostel, and when you hear the German being spoken in the song as well, it adds that feeling of German industrial Rammstein style music from the 90s, and it's just like, oh my god, this really feels like, you know, you're in a completely different area of the world, but it all fits in together. Woohoo! But what else really worked on this album? And again, I mentioned earlier, it is the guitar work of Dan Sugarman. This is his first full-length album recording with Ice Nine Kills since the departure of Justin DeBleek, and when I said that there are 2 songs that stand out, which made me go like, hey, yeah, this is awesome. The first is Assault and Batteries, because as we go into the pre-chorus, the band really uses their guitars to really create this melodic sound from the heavier drums and the bass in the back, but what Dan does is the lead guitar in the first half is just absolutely incredible. This is impressive because it's like a wheedly, really rapid sound that heads in the vocals of the kids going, nah, nah, boo, boo, we're gonna get you. It's crazy. It creates this whole fever pitch, paranoia kind of style. Even when Nick Nocturnal heard this on his reaction, he's like, Dan, you dirty boy. That was pretty much the reaction. Also, there was Farewell to Flesh, the final song on the album. In the breakdown, in the middle of the second verse, the band has to go heavy with a lot of blast beats and then devolve into this insane guitar riff from Dan that makes you feel like you're falling to oblivion with the piano outrunning it in the same manner. And I'm just like, you want to see where Dan really comes forward on this album? This is it right here in the final song. It is the perfect encapsulation that's breakdown right after the second verse. Now are there times where I wasn't the biggest fan of what they did on this album instrumentally, and yes, there are 2 instances. One is the box, because when I listen to the guitar tone, the chimes do help to kind of give a little bit of a different feel over it, but the guitar tone is so similar to the American Nightmare that it does not let the box stand out nearly as much as any other song on this record. And then of course the intro opening night, they could have scrapped that and it would have completely made the album no different. The lead-in to Welcome to Horrorwood was the perfect intro of the album. Every time I listen to this album, I listen to 13 songs. I won't listen to the intro because I'm like, don't need to. So overall with the instrumentation, did Ice Nine Kills kill it on this one like they did on the original Silver Scream? Is this a good sequel to it? And yeah, it is. What they're able to do is continue to use their theatrical horrorcore style to really bring forward these movies, to really make it feel like you're watching these movies while you're listening to these songs with different things they did, like the Hip to Be Scared bridge, like the wheedliness of dance guitar and assault and batteries, like the Slipknot style infusion in Rash Decision. There's a lot going on here that really create a lot of it. There are very few instances where they don't necessarily hit on this, but they're few and far between. Is this as good as the Silver Scream? Well, I don't think there's many big hitters like Stabbing in the Dark, A Grave Mistake, and It Is the End here, but the consistency behind it is incredible. So this is consistently really, really good. Now I have to go into the vocals of this. I want to look at three specific things. One, with the loss of Justin Timberlake, will they be able to pull in those higher uncleans to really contrast against Spencer's lower uncleans and create that kind of compare and contrast style? Two, how do Spencer's vocals work? How does his range work? Does this maximize us? And three, how do the features work? So let's start. Going through the album, they really didn't do a lot of that higher unclean, lower unclean compare and contrast. Of course, without Justin Timberlake here, you're not able to do a lot of that. So I was a little disappointed in that they weren't able to try and pull that out, but they did do it really one time that stuck out to me, and that was on Funeral Arrangements. Listen to the breakdown. You're going to hear the gutturals from Spencer really create that heavier feel, but then Ricky ends up coming in with the higher pitch uncleans really quickly, and I'm like, they're still able to do this? This is awesome. I would like to see it more on the album, because I know the power of it from songs like Community of the Curse, from songs like Stabbing in the Dark, but you know what? Hey, at least we still get it. But now Spencer's really got to carry this whole thing to really make it stand out vocally. So now the question is, can Spencer Charnas take command of this album, really use the fullness of his range to really make this album pop? And yeah, the answer is yes. Start out with Rainy Day, where Spencer stays clean throughout the song, but you listen to the start of the verses to the end of the verse, end of the chorus, the vocals start out lower and then really build the suspense up, really build the animosity and the anxiety up, like the zombies are coming at you from Resident Evil. And then the chorus really kind of adds more to it as the backing of the drums really creates more of this gunfire feel. So you're really feeling it, and you're really seeing the cleanliness of Spencer's vocals hit with a faster pace compared to what we saw in, let's say, A Grave Mistake. You want the exact opposite of Rainy Day? Let's go to Funeral Arrangements, because Spencer just goes heavy with gutturals on us to create more of this cray style behind the whole entire song. And the unclean scream when the truck hits the kid in the first verse, oh man, that'll scare the soul literally right the hell out of you. But the cleaner chorus in the middle tone of it really brings up more of this, orchestral boom feel that really makes this song add even more power to it. Like, it's crazy how Funeral Arrangements works. When I heard that one, I'm like, this is the best single. Dang. You want to find a song at all? Look at Verse Vacation. With its more overall style that encompasses a lot of everything that Ice Nine Kills has done in the past, Spencer's deeper uncleans in the guttural sense in the verses really work well alongside that heavier industrial sound that is influenced on the song. But then you get to the chorus in with the cleans, and it's faster paced and breaks a more melodic style right behind it. So you really get more of this full on feel with what Verse Vacation really is going to be. Plus the guy speaking German really accents this whole entire thing perfectly to add more of the suspense to the whole entire thing. So you're seeing a lot of different things from Spencer, but yeah, they work. Now I gotta go to the vocal features, because there are three songs that have really big vocal features on them, and some hit and some miss. Hip to Be Scared, I think, really missed on this one because it had Jacoby Shaddix on there, but it's not that it missed in terms of the song is bad, it's just you have Jacoby Shaddix on there, and all you really hear from him is the not really in the whole entire Patrick Bateman Paul Allen skit, and then the lead into the last chorus. That's really all you ever hear from him, so it seems like a missed opportunity. The box, you hear Ryan Kirby really doing a lot of those unclean accents of Spencer's, and it really does work out kind of fine, but they're rather similar, so you're really not feeling the full force behind it. However, Brandon Soller from Atreyu going with these deeper, more sinister cleans in the bridge on the box creates more of this like classic Vincent Price scary feel, which I know it's not necessarily equivalent to Hellraiser, but I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna bring that in here, especially with a guest vocalist. Now you're really gonna hit on there, but the one with Corpse Grinder, yeah. So in Take Your Pick, going to the bridge, Spencer uses this more clean melodic style to really kind of build up the suspense to it. But when we get to the breakdown, that's when Corpse Grinder comes in with the deeper guttural vocals, and it just hits you square in the face, but you feel it in your chest, you feel it in your bones. But also compared to Spencer's guttural uncleans, throw more of a deathcore kind of style of this song, it really fits in to have Corpse Grinder here just to add more of that oomph to it. And we've all been waiting for it, but he did not disappoint. So overall, when it comes to the vocals, yes, the loss of Justin Timberlake and that higher pitch unclean scream to contrast against Spencer's uncleans does seem like it has lost a good amount here. There are some times where it comes up, but it is mostly lost. However, Spencer Charles is able to make up for it with a wider range, some crazier styles on his vocals, some crazier takes, and it really works out well to bring out the craziness, the anticipation, the suspense, everything in these songs. However, the features, some of them could have been better, but the Corpse Grinder one fit in perfectly. Take a look at the theme of this album. Of course, it's Welcome to Horrorwood, the Silver Scream 2, so we're going to be based off of different horror movies. Welcome to Horrorwood, the titular song, is probably the only one that isn't, which is based off of making fun of the film industry and all the sequels that come from different horror movies. Then you get Assault and Battery, which is based off of Child's Play, The Shower Scene, which is based off of Psycho, Rainy Day, which is based off of the Resident Evil video games, Hit to Be Scared, based off of American Psycho, The Box, based off of Hellraiser, Verse Vacation, based off of Hostel, and X-Morph, based off of Evil Dead. And you know Ice Nine Kills absolutely hits on this every single time, but let's take a look at, I think Hip to Be Scared might be the perfect way to go about it, because it is built in a way to really show the de-evolution of Patrick Bateman, to really kind of build up to it, to the fact that this is a madman. But you don't see him as a madman on the outside, you see it more on the inside. And you get to the whole entire bridge with the Paul Allen scene, which is absolutely perfectly well done. You get to the final pre-chorus, which shows more of that scene with Patrick Bateman in the office with the cops coming after him, confessing to his lawyer. But then at the end of it, it's like, you know, nothing ever happened. It seems perfectly well done, and a lot of the songs are crafted around this. Look at Verse Vacation with the industrial side behind it. Assault and Battery with how crazy back and forth it goes. There's so much going on here that when it comes to the themes, they hit on it perfectly. Oh boy, I get to rate Welcome to Horrorwood, the Silver Scream 2 by Ice Nine Kills. So what's my rating? Welcome to Horrorwood, the Silver Scream 2, very deserving of an 8.5 out of 10. So 8.5 out of 10. What I like about this album, and when it comes to bringing in horror movies into song, using different things from these horror movies to bring them in and make these songs really come to life, really was something that stood out to me. The different things with the violence, to show the knife going into Mary Crane's back in the shower scene from Psycho, that made so much sense to be put in here. It really stood out to its entirety. Take a look at the blasting, just bass and drums and toms that really show the gunfire from Resident Evil in Rainy Day. The bridge to Hip to Be Scared is the perfect way to show this, with the 1980s Huey Lewis in the News, Paul Allen, Patrick Bateman scene. There is no better way to describe this in terms of like that is the way to go. I also like some of the different influences they really worked with on some of these songs from maybe some other artists as well, to really show a different full style of them. Take a look at the song Welcome to Horrorwood, because it brings forward more of this like fast-paced, energetic, also kind of falling in reverse style from like 2013. Think of like Born to Lead. It fits into this so well that it just brings the song so much more to life. Then go into A Rash Decision, where it has more of this like consistent Slipknot drive feel to it. But that song sounds to me so much more. Listen to the intro when you get to the full instrumental break, it just goes crazy. Think about Hitting the Kegs from Slipknot. It's gonna change the whole entire song. You're gonna be like, whoa. And then listen to X Morris. The whole entire song, especially with Spencer's vocals in the chorus, has kind of this more campy feel to it. What do you think of Evil Dead? That was a kind of a campy horror movie anyway. So it really makes sense. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. Also, one thing I like about it is the fact that every song still stands on its own. Running through this thing so many different times, I really didn't get sick of a lot, because every song has its own identity. Every song stands out because of how well it is done to match up with its film counterpart. So, hard to be mad at that. More some things I dislike, and one of the things I disliked was the vocal features, really outside of Corpse Grinder. Corpse Grinder gets a pass, that was freaking awesome. Having Jacoby Shaxx and Hip to Be Scared, I loved having him in the video, but his vocals were really non-existent on the whole entire song. I thought Ryan Kirby's vocals, if they were the ones in the pre-chorus, really didn't stand out as much as they could have, but Brandon Towers really did well in the bridge. If I mix those up, I am very sorry, but I think that's the way it was. The other thing I wasn't a biggest fan of was, of course, take a look at the box with the guitar work, specifically the tone, not the work, the tone, because it sounds way too much like American Nightmare, which really limits the box ability to stand on its own and not be so closely tied to American Nightmare. And then, of course, the opening with Opening Night, because they didn't need to have that in there. The opening to Welcome to Horrorwood, that song, that should have been the first song. It really makes the album still stand out. Again, Open Night, it's fine, but you can completely omit it. It doesn't necessarily matter. Now time for my final thought. After running through the album and listening like 5 times, I saw what Alan Harrington on Twitter had to say about it, and he said something similar to, he liked the album, but the highs of the album didn't necessarily hit the same highs of the first Silver Scream. Though you didn't get the same feels on songs like, Stab Me in the Dark, Great Mistake, It Is the End, but these songs were still so consistently good that these were like American Nightmare, Thank God It's Friday, The World in My Hand sort of quality every step of the way through. So it's like, damn, this album is good, and I have to agree with them. Welcome to Horrorwood, the titular song, having that falling in reverse mixed with Ice Nine Kills feel just made me go absolutely insane. A Rash Decision with the Slipknot inspired drive behind it was crazy. Assault and Batteries going consistently back and forth, the wheelie guitars, and how the craziness is with the kids chanting, we're gonna get you, made it so much more fun to listen. The shower scene, I was nervous to see how they're going to put this together with Psycho, but everything was so well done and they didn't overdo it on the violin. Rainy Day had this sort of drive behind it. They worked well with this consistent suspense and gunfire. Field arrangements went heavy and guttural. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. Hip to Be Scared with that bridge that makes no sense but makes total sense, was just so much fun to listen to. Verse Vacation is one of my favorite songs by them because it just goes through so much so quick that, man, everything that was done from here. The instrumentals, Spencer's vocals. Is this as good as the Silver Scream 1? I think that's up to your personal opinion. I think they're honestly tied. Like, they're so good, both of them. Is this an album of the year contender, though? Without a doubt. Alright, that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching this review of Welcome to Horror, the Silver Scream 2 by Ice Nine Kills. Dang, what an album. Take care, guys. I say, well, Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Hat flip. Nope. See ya!